Today I want to speak briefly about something that showed up unexpectedly in my field this last week. Not because it's my focus, but because of the language it uses. The phrase was psionic asset. I'm not interested in UFO narratives or speculative programs. What caught my attention was the framing, because the way we frame things shapes how people perceive themselves. And when language slips, people lose coherence. In any system, military, corporate, institutional, an asset is something that is used, deployed, optimized. So when a human capacity is described as an asset, something subtle but important has already happened. The human being becomes secondary to the function. That separation is where confusion, fear, and inflation begin. A lot of people hear terms related to expanded perception or contact narratives like psionic and immediately polarize. Some inflate it into power and secrecy, others collapse into fear, trafficking narratives, coercion, loss of agency. Both reactions are signs of the same thing, a lack of ethical and developmental structure around higher human capacities. What's underneath all of this isn't exotic. It's attention, perception, coherence. The human nervous system attempting to remain coherent while interacting with uncertainty. There's a critical distinction that gets missed. One approach asks, how can this capacity be used? That's extraction. Another asks, how does a human being develop this capacity while remaining sovereign and integrated? That's development. When people spiral into occult or fear-based narratives, it's often because they sense correctly that extraction without ethics leads to harm. But the answer isn't panic. The answer is restoring the human at the center. I'm not interested in summoning phenomena. I'm not interested in contact narratives. I'm not interested in spectacle. I'm interested in how perception matures without distortion, in how attention stabilizes before it expands, in how higher human capacities are developed consciously, ethically, and without loss of agency. That's architecture of consciousness. If a term like psionic asset does anything useful, it shows us how quickly language can turn people into instruments. My work is about steering back to coherence, sovereignty, and structure. Because higher human abilities don't need secrecy or myth. They need maturity, ethics, and structure.